Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. I'm Keeney and we have a full house today with Fisher and Krusty.
Hi guys.
Full Royal Rumble minus 27.
Exactly.
The triple threat here.
Yeah, the best triple threat you'll see this side of Mania. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to run through Raw and SmackDown. We're on the road to WrestleMania now, so we're all a bit giddy. We've got our Money in the Bank tickets. We're a bit giddy, so we're just going to roll through Raw and SmackDown, and yeah, just go through the week in WWE. So, anything from SmackDown that stood out to either of you guys?
I mean, I guess the end segment really, with obviously Jimmy Uso wanting to meet Jay in the ring. I thought Jimmy was really good actually on SmackDown and Raw this week. He took more of a central role because he's been such a bit part of the Bloodline storyline really. But because Jay's kind of like not there because he's there, Roman's not really there, and Sammy's not really there either. He's kind of holding it together at the moment. And he's having a little bit more of a chance to shine, which is good. But it was interesting when obviously Sammy and him start fighting. Jay kind of just watches on, doesn't take either side. So we're still kind of none the wiser as which way he's going to go at the moment. I mean, obviously, I think eventually he's going to side with Jimmy, but yeah, I thought it was quite an effective end segment.
It was a good promo from Jimmy, actually. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was a good promo.
Yeah, like I say, it's been a good week for him. He's also fairly prominent on Raw. I mean, how do you think we get to the tag match at Mania, which I think everyone's predicting?
Yeah, it's got to happen. Obviously, jumping ahead to Raw a bit, but KO obviously still was adamant that he wants to do this on his own. But something's going to happen that makes KO change his mind, right?
I'm wondering whether the way we're going to get Jay sort of come back to Jimmy is when we get Sammy and KO almost joining forces and beating up Jimmy. I think that's what may turn Jay to defend his brother rather than Roman. You might even get a segment where you end up with Roman getting beaten down by KO and Sammy, Roman and Jimmy, and then Jay comes to the rescue of Jimmy, not Roman.
Yeah.
It could be even quite a cool turn to have Roman. I listened to your podcast the other day, actually, so listen to that. The WrestleMania, what we know so far, it was really good. And you made a point about Roman being left on his own. It could almost be awesome to like watch Roman watching Jimmy get beaten down, and then Jay steps in, and then Jimmy's like, "What the hell?" Or the other way around, even. You never know. Jay could be getting beat down, and then that's how they pull away from Roman. I think that's a great way to take it. So Roman's on his own, and a great way for him to be able to lose the belt. Then you've just got the caveat of Solo, really.
Yeah, Solo's interesting on all this because he's just the observant muscle in the group, isn't he? He doesn't have too much.
Even Paul Heyman's interesting. Like, where does he?
Yeah. It's almost like a pun in itself, though. So I think Solo is going to go solo. I just think he's going to be like, I'm the Lone Ranger. I'm going off on my own. I don't need you guys. It's good how they keep him powerful. He doesn't ever get off the end of a beatdown. Everybody runs from him. Like Sammy still runs when Solo comes down. He did it at the end of this segment.
He's never been pinned or lost a singles match either yet. Obviously, they had a tag match on Raw. They won. He's facing Kevin Owens soon in a singles match, but I smell a DQ finish there.
Because didn't he have a match with Drew that never finished?
Yeah.
As well, just after Clash.
I think they'll keep him strong, but you're right. He is very well protected. And
he is. And I think what's good about all this is, I don't think Mania's the end of this story either. I think it's going to be a big. Obviously, Mania is going to be a huge moment in this storyline, but it feels, at the moment at least, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, that the tag feud or the tag feud we expect to happen and Roman feel a bit separate at the moment. Like Cody's doing his thing with mainly Heyman, and now him and Roman are both on SmackDown this week. Jimmy and Jay and KO and Sammy are kind of doing their thing. And I wonder whether they'll keep it separate until Mania. And then the aftermath of Mania is the Bloodline implosion, which is triggered by Roman losing his title. And Usos losing their titles.
Because if Roman hasn't got the title, there's not a lot else other than maybe face Jay.
You could have an awesome match at SummerSlam. Solo versus Roman, maybe.
I think that match has to happen at some point.
But like the head of the table almost would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it all depends as well on the result of WrestleMania, of course. We're assuming here that Cody wins. I've seen quite a few people
surely Cody will win.
Roman will retain, and I have no idea personally. But I think Cody should win, of course. But
it's been 2 years
it's
now.
Not 100%. I don't think that he does win, but I think he will.
Yeah, and like I said, I just think the aftermath of the Bloodline implosion, like you say, you could have Roman still be a prominent main event guy, but just not.
I think he'll want to take some time off anyway for a while.
Yeah,
it's
that's the alternative
for a start. So that's one like major pay-per-view, which obviously we're going to. So it'd be a bit of a shame if he's not there. But as long as we get other good stuff, it's fine. You know what I mean? We had them in the main event at Clash. We don't have to have Roman in the main event every time. It might be nice actually to see some other stuff taking, center stage at some point, because there has been Roman dominant for 2, and rightly so. But, sometimes you want to move on from it. So it depends. It really depends what happens at WrestleMania and after. But the storyline is so compelling, and I do think you're right. It will go beyond Mania. I don't think it's all. I think the main title switches, or at least one switch, will happen at Mania. Even if Roman won, Jimmy and Jay, I think, could definitely lose, and that could still lead to the implosion of the Bloodline. And then that could later on then lead to Roman losing the title because he doesn't have Jimmy and Jay support anymore. So there's loads of directions you can go with it.
Yeah, and that's the strength of this whole story, is there's just so much that could happen.
I never thought it would go this far, to be honest. And I'm not disappointed. There was a very small point. I think it was about a 2-month period where I didn't enjoy it.
Well, I think Sami Zayn coming into it kind of saved the storyline a little bit.
I think it did.
I think just them doing their thing, it was really, really, really good. But then it kind of got a bit stale with are they in, are they out, blah, blah, blah. But then Sami Zayn coming in and just being completely different gave it a whole new,
Gave it at least a life for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I think that made it able to drag out this long, as I think it would have been a bit rubbish by now, to be honest.
Yeah. Should we move on to another, I want to say the word dragged out, but a long-term storyline that has me hooked. Probably my second most looked forward to Mania match after kind of the Roman stuff is Dom and Rey Mysterio. So we had Rey and Karrion Kross have their match on this show, and Dom confronting Rey, and just these two. I think Dom was pushing him in the face and shouting at him after the match, and I think Rey still yet to lay a hand and still yet to lose his temper. That is going to come, and I think that will be a huge pop when that happens, because I think Dom is becoming probably the most disliked heel on WWE TV right now. He is getting some serious heat here. But what do you make of this feud? What where we are, and kind of, I guess there wasn't massive developments this week, but I guess Dom cost Rey a match.
I think the biggest development really was Rey being so close to snapping. Really, we've not seen anything like that. He's been so restrained. So I think this is quite a turning point. It's a shame in a way that Karrion Kross seems to be being such a sideline story here. It's been pretty boring, and I think it's damaged him massively. It's good that he got a win over Rey, but I don't think he gets anything out of it. I really don't.
No, really. Especially it wasn't clean anyway, was it? So
no. And I think the whole Kross and Rey thing has felt so random. Kross never really made sense when after Rey. It just seemed a bit odd.
I think This is a random little side note, but do you think we're developing into a Karrion Kross Santos Escobar feud? Because obviously we had the respect angle with Santos Escobar.
Yeah,
That
well,
could be a random filler match on the Mania card, like lower down.
yeah, I was going to mention Escobar because Escobar's always been heel, really, but he's been quite a cool heel. He's always been cool, Escobar in NXT, and he appears to be on Ray's side. I don't know if this is a red herring and he's actually going to turn on Ray or whatever, but that could be a really interesting link up that I actually would never thought I'd see a link up of Escobar and Ray, but Escobar seems to be on Ray's side and all about respect and stuff. It's just an interesting, like,
it's just an interesting
side note.
The story that, like, could be a side. I mean, maybe he could help Ray at Mania, against Dom. He could be in his corner because Dom will obviously probably have Judgment Day. So he might even the odds against Damien Priest or something. Like there's plenty of things they can do, but it's interesting. But yeah, Dominic was quite prominent on this show as well, wasn't he? Because and talking of another leaning into another WrestleMania feud, we had him interrupting Charlotte Flair as well.
Yeah, I'm not as keen on this personally. I would. I think Rhea is strong enough to not have Dominic involved in her title feud. Personally, this is essentially the world title of the women's match, and you've got kind of a comedy character in Dom, but he's just. I just don't think he should have got involved in this. Personally, I don't know what you guys think. I just wasn't too keen on him getting involved.
Really on the fact of, like, obviously it's the same with the Heyman and Cody stuff. Like Cody and Roman haven't really come face to face, and they're finding ways of like doing it without doing them two just doing the same promo every week. So I get it from that point of view. And I did quite like the fact that Charlotte got the opportunity to bring up Andrade in this as well.
I liked that, and I wonder whether that means he may be joining WWE in the near future.
I mean, I'd be up for an Andrade Dom feud. Yeah,
I wouldn't be overly shocked if that happens. I don't know what his contract status is with AEW. But
well, I know it's not going well. I don't know about the contract status, but the actual run, it has been absolutely terrible.
It's not been great.
Awful, and he's not done anything in a long time. I think he's turned down work from them.
Yeah, because his faction's kind of moved on without him, hasn't it?
It has. And he wasn't wrestling, which is crazy to not have such a talent wrestling. He was doing promos, which was never his strong point anyway.
No.
Yeah. This
is funny. It led
very odd use.
This led to an interaction between Buddy Matthews and Andrade online, because obviously two AEW people talking about a WWE feud. Because obviously Buddy Matthews was with Rhea Ripley, so he was talking about that.
Interesting. I don't know. But yeah, Andrade is interesting one, isn't he? Because his best ever run was with Zelina Vega, where Zelina did all the talking and he did all the wrestling. It just works perfectly. And I just amazed that
I'd like to see him back in WWE.
I would as well. I would. Especially as Charlotte's there, because he's got his wife there. He's got obviously
maybe Raw after Mania
contracted. All that kind of stuff. With people like Escobar there, Zelina Vega's still there. There's plenty of links for him in WWE.
Yeah, Ray, Dom. There's a lot of luchas.
He was a Triple H guy. Like Triple H made him NXT champ, so it would make a lot of sense if he did come back. That is a massive detour from.
I've got mixed feelings on your initial question about whether Dom should have been here. So I think Rhea is strong enough, but I almost think Charlotte's promos are too boring now that they need some other element. I really like Charlotte Flair, and she's very talented, but she is now boring.
She isn't a babyface, is she?
Thing. It's awful. So I think Dom adds something to that and gives her some sort of new interaction. We've seen the Rhea stuff before. We've also got a long time until Mania. What is it? A month?
Yeah. Which
Just
is what
over.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we've got plenty of time for them to have their own promos and for Rhea to come out looking really strong. Especially after the loss in the Elimination Chamber. I know she didn't get pinned, but
Yeah, I think there may be kind of a build up of things. I wasn't too keen on Rhea being involved in a loss at a pay-per-view after challenging for the title. Just kind of is a slight bump in the road that didn't need to be there. And then I think I thought I'd have preferred Rhea to confront Charlotte than sending out Dom. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to see Rhea Ripley booked as strong as possible, and I want to see her destroy Charlotte Flair, I think. And at the moment, she isn't doing that for me.
No, I agree. I get where you're coming from.
Well, I can probably get skiddy now, I think, from a section in SmackDown.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the section, but the stuff around it. So we had an LA Knight promo.
I thought it was going to be this.
Which I actually enjoyed. And then the New Day come out, fair enough. And then Kofi has a match with LA Knight, and Kofi actually beats him, which I think is skiddy. I don't think it's a skid mark, in my opinion. I don't think Kofi needs to beat LA Knight, and I'm really worried now with LA Knight losing to Bray the other week quite convincingly that we're turning LA Knight, a real talent, into the next Baron Corbin. That's what I think's happening. He's getting over as a heel, but now he's not looking strong. Before, I thought he looked really strong when he in the sort of build up to the Bray match, and then he lost that. I was like, okay, you can't make him lose, but then don't make him lose in a random match to Kofi Kingston. It just doesn't. We're talking about this guy maybe going to WrestleMania, possibly winning Money in the Bank, and he's losing in a random match to Kofi Kingston. He could have cheated and won or something like that. I just disagree with it.
To add to your point, and I agree with you being a skid mark, the New Day did a heelish thing to win with Woods using the trombone noise to distract him. I think
I used to love the use of the trombone, Francesca, but now when it's putting them over against LA Knight, it's just wrong.
I think this current version of the New Day is rubbish. That's what I think. I don't like them.
I think it's in its day. I want them to feud. I want them to have a feud.
Well, I think it'd be quite nice if they stayed together and they let Woods have like a big singles title. I know he had his money as King of the Ring or whatever, but I want Kofi Xavier to like go for the title or like do, because they've done it with Big E, they've done it with Kofi, and I think that would be a good rounding off of the New Day story. I think sometimes factions don't have to break up, and I think the New Day's probably one. I don't think they ever have to break up or feud.
No, but they could change up what they do.
But
I've been bored
they
so long.
are very stale, and I think the NXT run might have been the best thing to happen to them, and then that didn't last very long.
The title so quickly. I would have dragged that out till Stand and Deliver, and then done them. That could have been their Mania program. I compared it last year, but they did the same thing with Dolph Ziggler last year, and I thought that worked well. Just to sort of continue to Krusty's point, you compared it to Baron Corbin. I would compare it to what they do with The Miz, where he cuts great. LA Knight cuts great promos. Miz cuts great promos.
Yeah,
but he just got beaten by babyface. Like he got squashed by Rick Boogs in like a minute. Do you know what I mean?
He's just too good in the ring, isn't he? Corbin, I can sort of see it, but LA Knight's a wasted talent.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd wonder what they're going to do with him for Mania, because I feel like he's going to be on the card. He's on the.
Well, he made a good point that like you can't have a Hollywood Mania without LA Knight, and like he kind of
try and co-host it with The Miz, and then you could spin that off into some sort of feud, because I think that would be good. Like, all right.
Yeah. Who's the A-lister? That could be quite.
Because I feel like they're kind of similar in a way. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think
I'm just worried what they're doing with him.
Yeah, I am a little bit concerned as well. And with reports that Vince is having some sort of creative input at the moment. We'll get to that.
Yeah, that's probably why.
LA Knight could be one of the people that is suffering if that is the case, because we all know that he didn't see anything in LA Knight. So, anything else to talk about? I guess there was a 6-man tag team match, Imperium versus Strowman, Ricochet, and Madcap Moss. A bit of a thrown together match, but it was fun 6-man. Not a lot to say about it other than a really interesting stare down.
It was the after angle, wasn't it, where Drew was there, and then we had the Viking Raiders attack Drew and the Brawling Brutes, or actually I think it might be just been Drew and Sheamus, but
Yeah, which is true.
the Viking Raiders are still very involved with Drew and Sheamus, which I think is a bit odd at this point. I think that they should probably move on. But
Well, I think they're spinning this off a little bit because I think Braun and Ricochet helped Drew and Sheamus, and it was like a stare down afterwards. So I feel like we're spinning off into a Braun, Ricochet, Viking Raiders feud. And then obviously you got the stare down with Drew and Gunther. So I'm pretty sure that's the direction we're going to go for Mania, which I'm excited about. Throw Sheamus in as well, make it a triple threat, why not? And you've got a banger there.
Yep.
Even just
No,
a one-on-one would be a banger, but it gives Sheamus a match as well, who I think is yeah, there wasn't a lot to this. It was just, but the interesting part was the Drew Gunther stare down, because I was like, here we go. This is a good Mania match. And at least Gunther's got something interesting, because there was rumors about him and Brock. There was rumors about him and maybe Lashley or someone like that, big at Mania for him to face. And then with Lashley and Brock doing, in my opinion, lesser feuds, it was kind of interesting to see who Gunther was going to face. And I'm glad it's Drew, because at least it's someone significant. And I think the match will be really good. So, yeah, no complaints about that.
Yep. And what about the impending tag feud of Natalya and Tegan Nox v Shayna and Ronda?
Who could possibly care?
They've just thrown Natalya and Tegan Nox together.
Oh,
I swear Tegan was tagging with someone else. Was it tagging with Liv for a bit? Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And I don't get how Natalya's a face now. Is it because they had a pay-per-view in Canada? She's now a face. She just changes with the wind.
Because she had the angle where she was gone for a while because Shayna and Ronda broke her arm or something, was it? Backstage?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So that's why it started it. But yeah, it was I just thought it was when Natalya came out, and because they showed why afterwards. And I saw Tegan Nox with Natalya, I was like, have I missed something? Like, why on earth are they together? Then they showed the clip backstage of Tegan being in the background, basically. But yeah, this is a complete waste of time. I don't know what they're going to do with Ronda and Shayna. We'll talk about that more when we get to the Raw tag titles situation, I guess. But yeah, a bit odd. Krusty, anything to say about it?
No, I'm just not enjoying it, and I really don't care about it. Not gonna lie.
don't hold back.
I mean, it's just the only thing I could really see being interesting here is if that team of Ronda and Shayna is thrown into a triple threat with what we'll probably talk about on Raw.
One thing
Lita, Becky, and probably Damage Control.
Yeah.
I think that will be good and interesting. A feud. I mean, Tegan Nox, I rate her, but her return has been poor. And Natalya, she's a workhorse. She's brilliant, but sort of what she does, but she's not interesting. She not at all.
She doesn't have a character.
And putting these into a tag team just doesn't. I mean, Tegan Nox, has she cut any promo, even backstage or anything?
They have
no build.
Her return has been about as flat as humanly possible. Yeah, I think it's been along with Emma, but at least Emma's got a thing with Madcap, I guess, or something there. But yeah, it's been really flat. And
one thing that did pop me here, the only thing I cared about, I've just remembered it, and it was funny, was actually a line from Ronda.
Was it Ronda's Skittle line?
Yeah, she was
wrote this down
Skittles,
as well.
You're going to taste the rainbow next week. I love.
Yeah, that was good. I liked that. That was good.
I don't know why it was.
No, I'd agreed. That was great. Yeah, for Ronda, that was a good line. She probably didn't write it herself.
And Shayna was like, her name's Tegan Nox, and she was like, "Oh, Skittles! You're going to taste the rainbow next week."
I did actually like her being like, "What's her name?" Because why would Ronda know Tegan Nox's name?
I actually quite liked Ronda here, which is weird.
That's how Ronda should be unprofessional and like that. I think that suits so well.
The baddest woman, man. That's what she should be.
Yeah, she should.
And whatever her line is.
Raw
is War.
I guess so, because the only other thing we had on this was a Bray Wyatt thing, but that kind of happened again on Raw anyway, so we can talk about it. He had this weird.
You might as well go straight into that then, Fisher. Tell us all about it.
Well, he comes out after Bobby Lashley completely destroys Elias. Obviously, Elias kind of set that up with the match last week. I mean, that guy is not do anything, is he? He's going to be feuding with Rick Boogs, isn't he? Which completely makes sense.
They should be a tag team, in my opinion.
Or a tag team, yeah.
Mm.
One or two. But yeah, I don't know. Bray Wyatt and Bobby Lashley is not a feud I thought I would see. Because they're just, I don't know. Bobby being in this kind of weird Bray Wyatt world, I'm not sure works.
Yeah, I'm not keen on this yet. I'm still a bit confused with just Bray Wyatt full stop, let alone this feud. I just don't quite get what the hell they're trying to do with him. Because sometimes Uncle Howdy's involved, and then sometimes
we haven't seen Alexa Bliss in weeks either. Like, what's going on?
I know. It's just a weird, a very
like
weird
a mess,
thing.
doesn't it?
It is a mess. Doesn't seem to be just
It doesn't feel
a clear
exciting
direction.
like the bloodline and things like that, where they add new elements and it's like, what's going to happen? It is literally, we don't have a clue. This is confusing.
It's a logical storyline. There's no logic to
Who's
why Bray.
who? What's going on?
Why would Bray randomly say the winner of Lashley and Brock on a different brand to him? He's had literally no history with either of them. It's just completely random. And I mean, essentially, it's just they've got two big stars, don't know what to do with them, and Mania, throw them together. That's why they're doing it.
And that's such a wrong thing to do.
What's stupid
Bray.
about that? What's stupid about that is you said they didn't know what to do with him. Yeah, they literally had the Bobby Brock story right there to finish, but they decided to do a stupid finish at the Rumble or Elimination Chamber, sorry, and then not capitalize. Why did they do that match? Why don't they just do that at Mania? It doesn't make any sense to me. And then do something else with Bray. You could, I'm sure there's something you can do with Bray.
Well, you could.
You don't have to have Omos doing anything.
Yeah, you could have played off this Uncle Howdy story, which sometimes gets dropped. Sometimes it's the most important thing in Bray's world.
Yeah,
I honestly thought we were going to get Bray versus Uncle Howdy at Mania.
Yeah. That's what I would have done that. I would have dragged the Bobby Brock thing out to Mania, do like a last man standing match or something like that, something cool to end the feud, and then do some weird spooky stuff with Bray and Uncle Howdy.
I can only think Uncle Howdy may get involved here to negatively impact Bray, to cause him to lose at Mania to Lashley, because you don't want Lashley to lose, surely. It was bad enough that he lost to LA. He beat LA Knight, but beat Lashley,
who knows?
I think he should have been. I think he should be. Yeah.
Well, this is the problem with Bray Wyatt. Yeah. Bray Wyatt, the build up and the clues to the build up of him returning were very interesting and cool, and we had us on tenterhooks for a few months.
It was,
and it was really cool debut entrance, really good. But I think his return has been messy from start to now, and he's wrestled once in, when did he return? Like 4 months ago, 5 months ago. I feel like he's been back for a little while now.
Rules, wasn't it? It was Extreme Rules.
Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
He's had one wrestling match since then.
Yeah. It's not enough. It's not.
You
enough.
need to see more from him. He was like, I think their initial, and whether plans have changed, whether this was their plan all along, when he come back, he was being real himself. He was kind of saying, finally being myself. And then he's gone back to Muscle Man dance and creepy Bray and Funhouse Bray, and it's just a mess. The only thing we haven't seen yet is the Fiend, and maybe we'll see that at Mania. I don't know, but
it's all a bit messy. I don't really get it at the moment, and I love Bray Wyatt, but I'm not understanding what's going on. And I'm this feud. I just don't think Bobby Lashley's the right character for this kind of feud either. I just don't think he fits it. Bobby Lashley fits, fights like it's a proper just wrestling match, two big men going at each other or whatever for a title. That's the kind of in the same way Brock Lesnar does.
I feel like you've set up a segue.
Yeah, I saw a report today that Brock Lesnar turned down a match with Bray, so that's probably.
I'm not surprised. Yeah,
why
Brock would make even less sense.
By that promo that happened after Muscle Man, what was it?
The Muscle Man dance thing.
Yeah, do the Muscle Man dance. So I'm not surprised Brock don't want to be involved with that.
Yeah, But are we happy with what Brock is involved with? As it is confirmed for Mania, Brock Lesnar v Omos.
I think it's going to be a spectacle, isn't it? If Brock can throw Omos around, and you might have the odd fun spot where he goes to and can't, and then Omos lobs him about, which could be quite cool because that's so rare to have someone, because he should be able to pick him up quite easily and throw
Brock's
it.
going to look small compared to Omos, which is something that is interesting in some ways, but it just feels below Brock Lesnar's level.
It does feel like a waste of Brock, which we said the other day on our pod. But I do think if this match is kept short, it needs to be short. Kept under, like, literally do 3 minutes of maybe Omos starts and it looks like he's going to beat Brock, and then Brock just launches him and gets him up and does the F5 and maybe does a couple more. The crowd will be into that when it happens. I know the idea of it sounds crap and a bit of a waste of Brock, but I think the crowd will pop for him F5 and Omos. They pop for F5s on anybody, but a 7-foot man, whatever he is.
I'd be interested to see how impressive it looks, though, because that is going to be hard, even for Brock. That is a big man, a very big man. I hope it looks decent and doesn't look like a Undertaker Goldberg jackhammer.
Yeah, it is easy to mess up.
A match. What I do like about this, it gives Brock a match to win where people actually want him to win. You know what I mean? Because before, normally he's always in the title picture, and if he wins, it's like, oh, Brock, here we go again. And he's lost a fair bit recently. Obviously lost technically to Lashley.
Yeah, he can't really beat Lashley, can he?
So him to win over Omos is fine. It's not doing a lot for. It's not going to do any great for Brock, and it's certainly not going to do much for Lashley. But I don't think it does any harm to either of them either. It's just kind of there, isn't it? What did you actually make of the setup so far? I thought MVP tried to sell the match quite well, actually.
Yeah,
I liked this promo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was really good. I think MVP is a very, very good hype man.
That was an awesome promo, actually, by MVP.
Yeah, really good. I thought Brock was quite fun here as well, kind of coming down, and you knew he's going to F5 him, and yeah, it's just fun, really enjoyable. I love this side of Brock. We've seen more, obviously, since parting from Heyman. It just shows that Brock can cut promos. Brock can be entertaining without a mouthpiece, which I think we all doubted for a few years. And yeah, it's just good, nice. I'd like to say, as long as the match is short, snappy, and is what it needs to be, then I guess this will be fine. But yeah, I guess it's not Brock v Bobby, which it probably should be.
As long as it goes short, because if you're taking up this amount, if you're doing this match and you drag it on for 20 minutes, and other people that aren't on the card that you want to see, then I think it's a terrible decision. But if it goes 2 minutes and it doesn't, you can have an extra match on the card because this is only going to be a 2-minute thing, then that's fine. And Brock, I mean, to be fair to Brock, he's not exactly a workhorse, is he? If this opens the show, he comes out, does a couple of F5s, and then gets paid and goes home, he's not going to complain. People are saying it's a waste of Brock, but I'm sure Brock won't really care.
Oh yeah, Brock won't care, I'm sure.
Like if that's what he gets to do and it pops a crowd, I don't think it's that bad. And talking of other things for Mania that I think is a sort of, this one I think is a good use of a person for Mania. The Miz is going to be hosting the show. I called it on the podcast last week. I said
you did.
Yeah, good shout. Makes complete sense.
It makes so much sense, and I actually think this is the perfect role and the perfect time for Miz to do it, because he hasn't got an obvious feud. In the ring, he's done everything, right? He's headlined WrestleMania. He's been in tag feuds. He's been in celebrity matches. He's done everything there is to do. So him just hosting it and someone coming out and beating him up or something is perfect. In LA, thingy as well. So Hollywood. I mean, yeah. Sorry. Obviously, that being his gimmick, it all makes total sense, and I think that's a very smart decision.
And in the meantime, he's playing this kind of role in the Seth Logan Paul feud. I mean, Krusty, what did you make of this as Seth's biggest fan? The whole Seth stomping the Miz and stealing his phone to call Logan Paul.
I actually enjoyed this. It felt kind of real in a way. I know it had the jokey thing where he like put the phone up to the Miz's face to unlock his phone, which I found quite funny. But it felt quite real because Logan Paul answered it as if he didn't expect it and he didn't know he was calling, which was
he was like stop calling me Miz or something.
Yeah, that was good. And I like the way that Seth gave a dig at Jake Paul losing his fight to Tommy Fury the other day, sort of adding some realism into it.
I knew it was so obvious, but it still was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this. It's good. It's good way of building it without him being there. Which is good. And I wonder if we're going to get him next week because he's invited him to see him, hasn't he? So
he's definitely going to be there next week, I think.
And as you guys said last week on your WrestleMania podcast, this match is going to be an absolute cracker because Seth is just one of the best in ring in WWE, if not probably the best.
As is Logan
Paul is just incredible. For somehow he is incredible and incredibly athletic. So I think this is just going to be
there's going to be some mad spots in this match.
It's going to be so well orchestrated, isn't it?
Insane stomp, probably. We're going to see a buckshot lariat and all this stuff.
Probably. Yeah, it is hilarious to me that his buckshot lariat is better than Hangman Page's, and some people would be fuming, but it is.
It is, yeah. I mean, even his stomp was like rivaling Seth's in the chamber.
And his Shane O'Mac dive was also probably better than Shane O's. Basically, Logan Paul turning into an in-ring goat.
Yeah, and it was matching Ricochet for athleticism in the Rumble as well. Like
that was incredible.
He's got it all, hasn't he? Logan Paul is
genuinely he has. I don't like to admit it, but he has.
I'm so excited for this match.
This is up there for me.
It was still the show.
It's gonna be so good, and it has no real moment. It's got no real momentum to go anywhere, but it's good that Seth has something interesting to do that is not him losing another title.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that like in the last few months we've kind of thought Seth is turning face, and I think this is like confirmation now. Seth Rollins is a face because he's up against Logan Paul, who is a big heel, and he's taking out the Miz every week, and Seth is a proper face.
I like the way he's keeping hold of it.
Yeah, his character hasn't changed.
Aggressive, psychotic.
Yeah, his character's still obnoxious, over the top, flamboyant, all this stuff, but he is now like the crowd love him. And I think maybe his song has helped because that seems to be what started.
So important, and that's what's pissed me off about recent changes, like Johnny Gargano in particular.
I actually didn't mind his entrance music this week. Quite liked it.
It's not rebel. It's not. People pop for the music. I just use an example. There's plenty of others, but Seth's one they got right, which is great. And Roman's one. There's a few that have been good, but a lot of them recently have really been a problem.
Well, let's move on to Johnny. Pardon?
Oh, right. No, go talk about Johnny first.
Yeah, because he had a match with Otis here, got the win. Otis coming out with maximum male models, so that story enhances. And quite interested that we had maximum male models try and interfere in the match, and then Loomis from the crowd taken out.
I haven't seen Loomis in a little bit. I wonder what they're doing.
Trying to steal Marseille, wasn't he? I mean, I know we've speculated a bit, Fisher, but I mean, Krusty, do you have any idea where this Otis maximum male model thing is heading? Is he joining male models?
I think he will join. I think it's going to give them some comedy element, which is actually quite funny. I think they were really struggling. I'm impressed the fact that they've actually decided to keep hold of this gimmick. I thought they would have dropped it, but I think this is a real good way. I like the Otis thing. And I think you guys mentioned the other day that you think this may end up in a bit of a feud between Gable and Otis, which could be cool. And because I do want what you said about, I want Gable to have a singles push. I want him to get like a US title run or something like that. I think it could be really cool. And I think he deserves it as well, to be honest. I think Otis, you can get a little bit of a comedy run again for him.
He was great with the stuff with Mandy and obviously the stuff with Tucker and all that. He is a good comedy character. So We know that can work, and I think Chad Gable having a serious run is needed, because that was going to be my top mark. So we can segue into that. It's a good segue.
Let's top mark.
I mean, I don't know where Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis are going. I will say that, but
yeah,
But in terms of top marks, then
go on.
Cody versus Gable. I mean, let's say more. Great match.
Great match, yeah.
And I mean, Chad Gable, we say it every week, but he is the real MVP in ring work of Raw. He gets matches and he loses every week, but he has matches every week that are great. And he did some selling in this match, which was fantastic. And yeah, I just loved this match. I thought it was really, really good. Gave Cody again a proper lengthy in-ring match in building him up to Roman, which I think was needed.
I think I think this is needed because I think you can't have both people in your main event not wrestling, and I think if as Roman's away, Cody needs to be, and also he's been out for a long time, so we want to see him have decent long matches week in, week out, and there is no one better on the roster than Chad Gable to go against.
And I think you're right. I think after WrestleMania, we hopefully see him get that singles push. I've heard rumors that they're thinking about it, and this storyline with Otis suggests it, because if they're splitting them, then Otis will go back into his comedy role, and Gable on his own, hopefully turning face as well. And
Alpha Academy have done everything they need to do. Like, I don't know, they're kind of done it all really as a team. So I think move them on.
Yeah, and that was my top mark. I just thought the match was great. And
that's a good top mark. I completely agree with what you're saying about him being such a good in-ring performer, and he doesn't feel too damaged by it as well. I feel.
No, not like
person who doesn't.
I think people appreciate the work he's putting in, because he's not having. If he was losing every week, but he was having if he was doing what Elias did with Lashley, for example, where he just got beaten up in a minute and it wasn't a great match, but people were remembering Gable's matches. People are, and he's wrestling the top people a lot of the time as well.
Yeah.
So that's always good.
I think
on the mic he's been great as well, which helps.
Yeah, I think one of kind of like the lost arts in wrestling is gaining stuff by losing, and I think AEW do it quite well, where they put people in decent matches, give them a really good showing, and they actually gain a bit by losing. And I think
the big example.
Yeah, Takeshi. I was thinking of the guy from Top Flight as well. Dante Martin did that for a while, where he was in big matches, kept losing, but every week his stock was increasing, and even Ricky Starks did it a bit. And I think I just think it's really, really good use. I think sometimes WWE are scared to have people lose clean because they think, God, that's them kind of taking a knock. Whereas I think you can lose and still be enhanced by it. So, and I think Gable's a perfect example here, where he lost, and I think he's still come out looking better, in my opinion. We opened the show with, I was going to say the Usos, with Jimmy and Solo, the Bloodline, against the Street Profits, and again another really good match. By the way, I thought really good match.
Yeah, strong. When you say Usos and the Profits, I know it's Solo. So
the Profits always have good matches, and then this led to a beatdown after, and then KO came out to make the save, which again leads to us thinking we're getting that match at Mania. It's probably not much else on this.
Just one little comment really is what I like is the similarity between. So Sammy's been sneaking in the ring with his hoodie on a lot on SmackDown, and KO had his hood on, snuck into the ring. I just think even though they're not doing it together, they're doing it in the same way. And do you know what I mean? I just think the symmetry there is really smart. So yeah, I just really like the way they're going with the story. It's great. And I honestly, KO Sammy versus Usos might be my number one look forward to match of Mania.
I think it's going to be a banger.
If it main event,
I don't think it can beat Seth Logan Paul though.
No, I just mean in terms of story and height. I don't necessarily.
Story, yeah, definitely, yeah. The build to it's insane.
Well, I think it could be. I think Roman Cody's obviously the big match. But this isn't far off in terms of like.
There's a couple of stinkers, but actually, this Mania card's looking to be an absolute belter.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's very good. And kind of on that, will we see the Street Profits on the Mania card? Because there's not much room for them, is there?
I don't know.
There's nothing, but they've kind of pushed them both individually and as a team for quite a while.
I think
now.
what you mentioned, we're going to get a battle royal, and they're probably just going to get lobbed in there.
Maybe Montez wins Andre Giant Battle Royal. Montez seems to be the guy they're pushing.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I would, as much as I think they're great as a tag team, and you don't necessarily have to split them up. I do think Montez needs to have a singles push to also give us someone fresh at the top of the tree. If you sort of mention everybody who could potentially face Cody or Roman, whoever retains or wins, whatever, there's no one you'd go, oh yeah, they're fresh.
I think there's a couple, but there's not enough.
But who would be ready to be pushed?
I would say
I wouldn't put Gargano anywhere near it.
No, I wasn't going to say Gargano. I was going to say obviously Gunther when you're obviously in the Continental title to the main event would be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I had someone else in my mind a minute ago who was fresh as well, but I've lost who it was now.
Gunther would be awesome.
Don't say Karrion Kross, Fisher.
No, I wasn't going to say Karrion Kross.
Until Gunther can win a title, and I think he can only win a title. He's a brilliant wrestler, but I don't think he's someone to carry two belts. I think Cody can. I don't think Gunther.
I think they might split them anyway.
I want to see Gunther remain as IC champ for another year, by the way.
I
want him to win every match he's in forever, basically. That's how I feel about Gunther.
I'd like to see the IC belt main event a pay-per-view. Not SummerSlam or Mania, but I think a different one.
Main event Money in the Bank, maybe.
Money in the Bank, yeah.
The Money in the Bank matches might, but like if you did a big enough match, if you did Drew, say they don't do Drew, Sheamus and Gunther, because it's in the UK, you could have Drew and Sheamus, Gunther there, like easily as the main event. And that would be good.
Be blimming good. But I'm sure we're going to see Cody, if he's champ, main event in the next few pay-per-views as champ. I predict.
I'd love to see that. We've got to have Kingdom. We've got to have Kingdom come out. Cody come out to Kingdom in front of our crowd. It'll be wild. Sing along, that's for sure.
You may have, as Fisher mentioned, Austin Theory briefly there. He backstage kind of said he's got something special planned for John Cena next week. Is it next week?
It so obvious. Yeah.
This has been the most obvious feud creation.
Another one I'm looking forward to, though. This will be a banger.
Yeah.
Cena
this
Theory.
Will be fantastic.
As long as Austin Theory wins. I don't want to see John Cena beat Austin Theory for the US title.
Will win, I'm pretty sure about it.
If Cena's winning a title, he has to win one of the big two to give him the record. I think it's pointless to give him the US title.
Yeah,
and not off Theory as well.
And also, this would put Theory over huge if he beats. I want him to beat Cena clean as well, but I want it that would make Theory legit. I think he's already pretty legit, but this would be.
I've already got the spot in my head. Cena goes for an
AA.
An AA now, is it? It's not an FU anymore. Yeah, he goes for the AA. Whether it's a super one would be even cooler or not. But Theory sort of front flips out of that. And then straight into the
A-Town down.
The A-Town down. I'd just think that would be a banging way of ending it.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop for Cena. I just can't not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
and to be honest, there isn't many matches I'd be like, oh yeah, I can't wait for Cena in this one. But this is probably the number one opponent I would want Cena to be facing right now.
We've said it since he came up that he is like the.
There is so many similarities between them.
Yeah.
So many similarities between Theory and Cena. Theory is a future world champion.
Yeah, be brilliant.
Undoubtedly, yeah. That's just a small thing.
Yeah, there's 3 women's matches on the show. We haven't mentioned any of them yet. We'll get to the main event, I guess, at the end, because that's the big one.
Yeah.
But it was good to see more women's matches on the show. First of all, we had Asuka versus Carmella. Obviously, Asuka facing Bianca Belair. So that was quite a significant match. Went longer than I thought.
Carmella's facing Belair next week.
Yeah, so Carmella's just kind of in this feud. Interestingly as well, Carmella and Chelsea Green kind of met backstage, and I was thinking, oh no, I smell a tag team here as well.
I smell a tag team there, yep. Yeah. I mean, I've enjoyed Carmella's return. Actually, I kind of you miss her when she. Well, no, sorry, you don't miss her when she's gone. I don't think, but when she's there, like, actually, she does bring a lot to the division.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
she's pretty good.
I think she's a really good worker, really good. She knows her character really well. Again, we can talk about Tegan Knox and all these people with very little character about them. Carmella has a very good character and knows it really well. And she's back to the Staten Island, Princess Staten Island, all that stuff. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, this was good. The match was decent enough. She took Asuka, to a limit to an extent as well, which is good. And then, so as Bianca Belair come out, Carmella attacked her, and then that led to the match we want about next week. And we also had Candice LeRae to pipe in, which was
Do you smell another tag team here? Is Nikki Cross is hanging out in the background?
Yeah, I don't know where this is going.
Nikki Cross and Candice LeRae. I think it's going to end up with some sort of Nikki Cross, Dexter Loomis pairing.
Yeah.
And maybe we get Indy Hartwell come up and we have an Indy Nikki Cross feud. I mean,
it's been talking about Indy Hartwell coming up for probably the best part of a year.
It makes complete sense. She should be on Raw right now.
It should have happened ages ago. It's weird.
But what I think now they're doing this Nikki Cross thing. She's going to join Candice and get close to Dexter. And Nikki Cross and Dexter's quite an odd. You can kind of see that as a coupling, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's been talk about Sanity coming back for ages, and it hasn't happened. So I don't know if that's not happening, but
I think that would be a mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe.
It would just be another kind of hit row situation, but worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, that match wasn't particularly interesting. Candice LeRae did win a match though, which never happens. So
yeah, nice to see.
At least she got a little win. And then we got the main event, which was the big talking point more really, and we've said it's the end because we got new women's tag team champions. I don't think anyone saw this coming. I think we all said that it will end in DQ with Ronda and Shayna, or Damage Control will retain and then get challenged by Ronda and Shayna, or something like that. But yeah, Becky and Lita just win. What did you make of the match, and in particular, Lita's performance? I'm intrigued to find out.
I thought her Lita's salt was spot on.
Yeah, I was going to say she was very slow moving across a couple of times going into moves, but her moonsault
was as if she was doing it 20 years ago.
It was great. The moonsault finish was great. Yeah, so
very similar.
Obviously, she's going to be a bit rusty, which is expectable, understandable.
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. I like the result. I think I wasn't sure at first whether I did, but
I'm not sure of the result.
Yeah,
I don't mind it because
I just hope Lita is going to work all the way up. I hope she's got plans of being it every week. That's what
I think
needed.
she will. It's only a few weeks. I think she'll be there.
I think it's going to be a bit of a gimmick to give the build to Mania to make this match important by putting Lita in it. They've now got Trish there, which we can probably talk about in a moment about what she's going to do. But I think this is just getting people on the poster to draw people's attention to this. Because if you just said it was Damage Control versus Ronda Shayna,
and you have the belts on Becky, and then you think it's going to be a short reign.
I think it's going to be a short reign.
Filler reign, and then Shayna Ronda win it at Mania.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think is going to happen. Exactly, I'm fine with that because it gets Lita on a WrestleMania card, which is cool. And she gets Lita deserves this kind of her flowers of this run because and her original WWE run, the way she was treated at the end and stuff, historically, it's not great. So for her to come back and get this, I know she had the title match with Becky, which was cool. But for her to come back and have sort of a title, I love Lita, so maybe it's just a fan.
I was a massive fan back in the day.
I mean, the Hardy Boys were my guys. Lita was my favourite woman. Yeah. I had a poster on my wall when I was like 10. So yeah,
it's an insight into Fisher's bedroom there.
Yeah, he's still got it. He's still got it now.
Yeah.
No,
I agree. It's great. No, I agree. It's great.
And to pair her with Becky as well is cool. They're cool
together. Gives Becky a purpose, doesn't it, as well? Because we were wondering what was going on.
As long as this doesn't give Damage Control nothing to do.
It's got a bit. I will be pissed off if they do.
It could be the only other option they do is obviously Becky and Lita versus Ronda and Shayna, and then you do Trish v Bailey with Damage Control being in the match as well.
I think this match has to be a triple threat to make it interesting enough. And
I could
as
even
you
see it being a
mentioned,
fatal four-way.
she's been brilliant in ring, but she's going to be quite slow. So I think you need other people to pick up that slack, because she can't be in the ring constantly for like a 20-minute match or whatever. She's going to need a break. So put Damage Control
I can see them adding more women into this. It wouldn't surprise me if you got a fatal four-way tag match.
Going to stick Natty and.
No, I was going to say Raquel and Liv or something, because they're not on the card.
I actually think if they're adding a fourth team, I think it's could be that new Chelsea Green Carmella team, because Chelsea Green's been quite prominent. I suppose Carmella being quite prominent on TV in the build up to Mania.
Could be quite good.
We haven't seen Liv or Raquel for a few weeks.
I don't think they'll have Chelsea wrestling Mania. I think you'll get a skip with Adam Pearce where she's.
I just think she might wear down Adam Pearce so much. He's like, fine, wrestle at Mania for the title.
She could get in the match at that second, but just get like annihilated like instantly.
Yeah.
I can see them adding more women in, but to be honest, with the history of Ronda and Becky, them doing that tag match isn't the worst thing ever, even if it was just 2-on-2. But the only trouble is, Io and Dakota don't deserve to be off the card.
No, I think they should be on the card. And I was going to say, I'm really impressed with their wrestling. When they're in the ring, Dakota and Io Sky are amazing. And we've always raved about Io Sky. But I think Dakota Kai is awesome in ring. I really do think she, and her mannerisms, the way she reacts to things as well.
One of my favourite performers, actually, women's performers, I'd say Dakota Kai is right really up there for me. Really like her.
Yeah, I really like both of them as well. And like I said, I hope they're on the card. What do we make of the Trish thing then? Because obviously she was rumoured to come out. She was in Canada, backstage at the show, and they said they didn't bring her out because plans changed.
It has to be Trish v Bailey.
Yeah,
and
Bailey something to do.
I am really happy for them to have a women's match on the card that's not for a title. I think that's a step. They've not done that before. I don't think it's other than like a mixed tag or something.
I also think Bailey could do with being put over. I think she's been made to look quite weak.
Bailey should beat Trish really now.
Yeah. When was the last match Bailey won?
She's probably won a random match on War.
I can't remember.
She did beat Becky in one of the matches.
The thing is, I can't remember that. Which beat.
It was ages ago, and it was due to Damage Control helping her. Obviously.
So I think she needs a clean-ish win to reinstate.
I can see them doing that match for sure, and I that would be a cool match. Again, Trish, someone we all loved as a kid, watched for years and years, hasn't like. Women legends don't seem to come back and get the credit the men legends do. So it's nice to see them do that, because men legends sometimes come back and have a WrestleMania match, quite often, or their career lasts a lot longer generally. And they never, stop. People like Sting, Chris Jericho, well into, Dustin Rhodes is like well old. Do you know what I mean? But women,
he's still got it, Fish. He's still got it.
What, Dustin? Oh, I know. He's still good. But, it's nice to see the women legends getting showcased more. See, I've got no problem with that. So obviously, if you're one of the younger talent in the backstage, you might be a bit pissed off, especially if Damage Control aren't on the card. I think they'd have every right to be annoyed. But I'm not too concerned about them because I know Triple H loves them. So I'm sure they should be okay.
Don't have anything else from Raw. Don't know about you guys.
I think they've been pretty stacked actually. Raw and SmackDown this week were pretty stacked, and most things were worth talking about, which is good.
And in this time next week, we'll be discussing Roman and Cody, probably their first face-to-face, and John Cena, Austin Theory. So
some banging promos.
And the thing is, what we said of a lot of the stuff is there's still time, and we haven't seen much of Bianca and Asuka face-to-face. We haven't seen much of Rhea Charlotte face-to-face, Roman Cody face-to-face. The tag title feud's still not set. The women's tag title picture's still up blurry. There's still a lot of stuff we haven't yet they're
slow building a lot.
Going. Yeah. At some point, it's all going to kick off. And
I think the only one that'll be fast build is Cena and Theory, because Cena's not going to be there every week. So they're going to have to. He's just going to come out and challenge him straight away, and that'll be it.
Ray Dom's not official yet. I think one that was made official this week we didn't mention was Edge and Balor, or I think Balor challenged Edge to a match
Yeah.
at Mania. So we'll
Which
probably
I
do some more
think
builds
is
for
going to be
that.
a Hell in a Cell match, I've heard, and it might be the Demon as well, which would be awesome.
That would make that match exciting, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it needs a big stipulation because we've seen it and not too many times otherwise.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I think that's it for this week then, probably.
Yeah, I've got nothing else.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, either. So yeah, follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle. If you're listening to us on podcast, find us on YouTube, Recharge Wrestling. Subscribe there, like our stuff, comment on it. It really helps. So that'd be great. Keep your eye on Predictions League as well. Obviously, we've got AEW show this week. We're not doing AEW predictions this year because we don't get as many responses. But obviously, WrestleMania coming up, we will be doing that. There'll be loads
Great
of content
time to get involved.
Might do some content to do with the AEW pay-per-views, not sure yet. But and obviously, you've got an NXT pay-per-view as well, just before Mania. So there's lots and lots going on. So keep your eyes peeled on our Twitter for that. And yeah, we'll see you next week where we will be discussing, like you say, John Cena, Cody and Roman coming face to face. Bianca Belair versus Carmella, and God knows what else.
Ooh, all the good stuff.
Yeah, it's your ending on that.
See you
the
next
only
week.
other thing I could think of that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, Dolph Ziggler and Mustafa Ali has a surprise for Dolph Ziggler as well.
I
So
can't wait for that.
Wow, that's a Mania match. Anyway, we will see you next week, guys.
Cheers.
goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.